Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've uploaded my last video. Life has got in the way, so I haven't been able to upload as much as I'd like to. I'm here just to discuss or mention a video collaboration I've done with Oakli, or Nick is the name of his YouTube channel. We've been speaking for a few months and we generally have quite long conversations, so he thought it would be a good idea to hit the record button for one of our random chats. There's no particular topic that we have covered or a question to answer. I just look at it like a bonfire chat. Some of you might find it interesting and might gain something from it. So his part 1 is hosted on his channel, so I suggest checking out that first, and I'll be hosting part 2. Please go and check out his other content as well. He does some good videos about similar topics to what I talk about, hive mind, egregores, NPCs, this layered matrix of different densities of vibrations, and various concepts in relation to like hermetic principles, shamanism, that sort of thing. And welcome anyone who's coming from his end to my channel. Yes, like I said, I will talk about similar topics. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you next time.
Integrate, or do we leave it alone and it's here for its purpose of being evil?
Yeah.
Paradoxically, this world does my fucking head in, Nick.
Does for me, brothers. It does for me. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't really know what the answer to that would be. I don't know if we can know the answer. I mean, some people, yeah, they would take on an aggressive approach to try and attack it directly. I don't know if that would work just because it's a matter of numbers, but because of how infectious ideas are, I mean, it might be possible that you could harness one portion of the hive mind, but I think in order to do that, you have to what you're talking about in terms of clearing up traumas, things of that sort, so you can sort yourself out, which to my mind, from a metaphysical perspective, it looks to me like that's just closing pores that the environment has traumatized into you, or has been inherited epigenetically from your parents. Closing up those gateways that the Wetiko demiurge virus can take up our mental real estate, the mental circuits, and then create this hypnotic trance where we can't then create like the feedback loops that bring us back to awareness of ourselves. So you've done that, but in terms of like, if you don't want to go for the demiurge directly, which in my opinion, it's not a good idea because we're just so outnumbered by like the vast armies of these this Hylic place that we're in, and the power of the masses is like a force to be reckoned with. But like, you have to like present the NPCs with a demiurgic program because they worship the demiurge as a god, but you need to imitate that program as to being what they're into, which is death. But in order to do that, you have to actually open a portal back to hell in order to do that. So I think, like for me, I don't even know if that's possible or whether I'd even want to try, just because of how difficult it has been for me to like free myself like so far.
What about the knowledge of we are that powerful that only one of us fully awakened can disrupt the whole system?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, like,
because something you said about taking on the power of the masses. What if they have no power at all, and one individual spirit, soul, whatever you want to call it, can do what it needs to do, shut a whole realm down if it needed to, shut a whole reality down, change a whole reality if it needed to, if it wanted to, and then what comes in is, oh, so that singular one entity could shut a whole reality down. What about the other 5 trillion people that live in it? It's yeah, like I said, paradoxically does my nutting.
Yeah, I mean, they're different approaches. I mean, if you want to, like what I said, like I see all these ideas and I can see how they could work. Um, I don't know. Even though what I suggest is just totally idealistic, I try and look for how you could do it, like on the physical level. Even though everything that is physical is an expression of the metaphysical, of course. But to me, that's something that I can see, like how it could work. But you'd need a lot of resources. Whereas I guess at least any sort of magic I've done has never been. Uh, it's not been a matter of faith, if that makes sense. So I can see how it could work, but maybe I just don't understand magic to that level. But I guess magic for me is understanding like the mechanics of the brains that are involved, like from a physical perspective. But
I see magic as your pure intention. I don't even think the rituals around magic are even necessary. Even the big ones they do, I don't think they're necessary. I think if you have a pure intention and conviction to hold that intention, then you will do what you need to do.
yeah, I agree with you. It's like you know when they say, "Oh, it's your mindset." And I think this is where some of the new age people might get confused with the law of manifestation. So they see your intention will attract what you want because the universe just bends to your will. If you're a solipsist, but like there is a truth to that in the sense of, okay, it might be possible that I don't know, like statistically in a crowd of potentials. So if whatever what is you that you want, whether it be positive or negative, is related to people, for instance, you can find whatever person it is depending on your mood and what you say. But that's just out of coincidence that they're all of the energies are here, and you've got to just draw it out of the environment. But it's not like um, this is why it's paradoxical. Like the universe has bent its will to you, but at the same time, it's not just your will that's involved, and this demiurge's will, and it's the magic that's conjuring, is immensely powerful with all of the units that operates here. Even if they are NPCs and they don't have their own creative spark and energy, they still have like dominance over the material plane. But that mindset of following orders and whatnot, it comes from the mental, which is where it all originates from.
I think they only have their dominance over this particular frequency range.
Yeah.
So whatever frequency we call 3D, and we look around, and that is where the majority of us sit. There has to be obviously different frequency that we can't see, obviously, which we call other worlds. That maybe we don't manifest anything. We don't go anywhere. We don't do anything. We just change frequency. and for what's to come to this world may need to happen in this frequency, but we leave this frequency and don't witness what's coming here for the majority of the people that it's coming for. And again, that goes back to then lessons, and it's not a prison, and it's not, I mean, the farming is definitely going on. So I don't know, as some whoever has just jumped on the bandwagon of, yeah, fuck me, this lot give off loads of energy, just go and trade it and market it and do whatever they do with it, interdimensionally trade our energy most probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, this place is probably insignificant in the grand scheme of the whole thing that's going on in.
Or is it?
City.
Or is it insignificant? Or is it the centre of the fucking whole what's going on?
Yeah, yeah. It's very hard to tell.
Sure.
I think it is and it isn't, because infinity is in everything, even on the smallest scales, because it has to be part of the whole thing. It's just at different levels of perspective.
And like I said, paradoxes after paradoxes, and
But
even us trying to decipher and learn and wake and make sense of things, talking in the English language, for me, that's what we've got to work with, and I'm grateful to work with something. But for fuck's sake, it is, you're basically running around on the hamster wheel over and over and over again because we're communicating in the English language. And at some point, I think we're going to get to the stage where we're like, fuck this ain't working. We need to do something else. We need to get back to our telepathy, or we need to at the very fucking least, create another language where at least when it's spoken is better for everybody's frequency as it's spoken, and maybe even introduce, I think it's like the Japanese have, say, 4 or 6 or 7 words per our one word to express how they need to in a more expressive way. And the Japanese and that side of the world seem to have something that's, I don't know what the word is, like, I revere it. I see honor in it, and I see substance to it, and I see authenticity to it. You know, it's probably all been corrupted as well, like we all have been. But at the core of what I see in that is that more definition of expression. So yeah, at the very least, I feel that maybe we should start fucking coming up with a new language totally to try and get us out of then vocalizing anything.
yeah, it is still mouth noises at the end of the day, but we could have a big improvement over, like the
Stone, yeah, to telepathy or whatever our natural state is.
yeah, and I think we have that in the astral realms even at that stage. Although, or maybe it's more lucid, but it's not exactly telepathy because it is still part of the place.
Well, DMT realms, mushroom realms, ayahuasca realms, out of body realms, 98% of the time will be telepathic communication, visual, auditory, movie-like communication. I have had, like I said, roughly a 2%-ish rough estimate English language communication, but fucking very, very rare, and can be dubious as well.
Yeah, because it's where it's the frequency that they're operating on.
Yeah, because English is very, very low in its spoken form, and what it manifests is obviously very low, very negative. And it's like, I talk a lot and express a lot, but at the same time I do sit in silence and be with myself and say fuck all for long periods of time, so I'm not adding to the soup of the shit of English fucking language into this.
Yeah, I mean, even as limited as languages are, there are some languages that are more verb based, more based on action, more based on feeling. I think some of the ayahuasqueros in the Amazon had their language be more like that, whereas the I mean, that's where I think like the whole Western minds came out of, because notice like Western languages, a lot of them are built around nouns, which are then connected together by verbs. But it's all about, separation in the sense of, okay, so yeah, we do have Eskimos, and they'll have like 10 different words for snow.
Sure.
You say snow, and it can mean anything to anyone. So we're speaking words, but what I'm saying might not even mean the same thing to you.
It's like what frequency noun, what manifests from speaking in nouns. Because what I see is it manifests concrete, metal. It creates lack of compassion and empathy, creates violence, psychopathy. That's what I see this nouns creating more and more.
Yeah, I mean, it's got no feeling to it because it's literally describing things
all the time. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how. Yeah, I think the intellect has been expanded in the Western world, at least. And but yeah, it might have just all been because obviously, like anything that we see that humans have created, whether it be like physical or even egregores, I mean, language is kind of like an egregore in the sense it has to have originated from somewhere, but usually it's by you know, divine spark pulling some shit out of the chaos of the, I don't know, spiritual and maybe even astral zones, and bringing it here. But then what's using it here? And I'm just saying that like it's been steered by the energies in the material world. If it's demiurgic in nature, which is why, it's very interesting with how shamanistic cultures have been able to maintain themselves very close to, well, I guess, like nature. I'm impartial towards. I know some people argue that it's a force for good. I'm very neutral towards it, but I do consider nature to be a good thing in general because it's closer to how our bodies work and we resonate greater to it because it's what we need, as opposed to artificially trying to replicate the conditions out of the intellectual mind.
Sure, but something you said, I enjoy nature because, like you said, it's of the body, but we're not of the body. But when I go into the DMT realm and I know that's not the body, the real deep DMT, but it's just pure nature. And when I say nature, it's not necessarily trees, plants, and flowers. It's indescribable in English language what this true nature really is. And it's the only word I can use for it is pure nature. I do see sometimes feathers or animals or a structure that may look tree-like, flower-like. And this is probably where everything obviously originates and manifests from. Or condenses down into a certain frequency and then looks like a lily or a fuchsia or whatever flower or plant or tree or whatever it's going to be, or animal. I lost my train of thought. That's annoying.
Yeah, I think I know where you're getting at. Yeah, I mean, I just think that whatever that is it also, would you agree that it's connected to the Mother Earth entity in the DMT realm? What the energy that she emanates. So, basically, like a lot of, for myself, I've met her, you've met her. I know a lot of other people who have met this particular entity with deep, compassionate benevolence around her and true, authentic love and care. And my skepticism pops up, but as I have to treat everything here understandably. But if I was to put a label to it, I mean, it could possibly be that whatever she represents is the disorder and the beauty that you see in nature before it succumbs to the demiurge's will of entropy and chaos, and the struggle it has to maintain that like primordial energy that she emanates, her creative force. But perhaps if the demiurge is the aborted child of Sophia, then her essence is part of the demiurge. It's just obviously it's in an inverted fashion.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this whole realm could be her shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through which we see her beauty and her greatness. It's just that, yeah.
Or when I say this realm, I mean this frequency we inhabit could be Sophia's shadow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all a frequency.
Yeah, it's I've played with that many times about is this manifestation, this frequency, whatever you want to call it, part of her corruption. I think the Gnostics talk about this, don't they? Where we've got to is because Sophia got corrupted, and that bounces on back to what you said is who we meet Sophia, that expression of creation that we find ourselves in at the moment, and that's what some people call her. I mean, I say Mother or Sophia. I prefer Mother, to be honest with you. I don't know where Sophia comes from. I think it may be again a Gnostic term that they've brought in. I prefer Mother.
Sorry?
I prefer Mother.
Yeah, I think it means wisdom in, I think it was Greek or Latin. I can't remember what it was. So obviously, like Gnostics they weren't agnostic, they were Gnostic because they had direct knowledge with God. So it seemed like they considered wisdom or like gnosis to be like the crown jewel, because with that they have understanding of what this place is, so they can get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like the entity that we'll call Mother is, like you said, extremely compassionate and loving and very nurturing and caring. There's a part of me that's always said, like, you know, am I being overly selfish on just wanting to escape this realm of death? Or do we help out in some way when we're out of our body as well? Because I'm sure in some way we're helping while we're in the body. Maybe even trying to clean it up, trying to better your diet, your vocabulary, your mannerisms, your perceptions and your actions and your emotions to help her, to help create an aspect of creation.
Yeah, I mean, personally, like whilst I'm here, I want to try and break the program if I can, if it's even possible, to whatever degree, even if it's not that much. It's like my way of saying fuck you. And but yeah, I mean, I think that once all the souls leave this place, the whole thing can't suspend itself because it's cannibalistic, and it'll just fizzle out. Then the energies can just get absorbed back into creation and then used for something else. Maybe we can create a paradise realm, or I don't know what that even means.
Would you blend back in with said creation, or would you want to keep your own individuality?
Well, I think it all blends at a certain point, but you can also remain individual at the same time. In the same way that we know who we are as individuals right now, but it's a similar energy that's working through us.
Okay.
At some point, outside the demiurgic system, has to converge to an all.
Would that not be a deception of oneness, or do you think there is a oneness, but the system, the demiurge, whatever, have jumped on that, hijacked it, swerved it over to something else? Their oneness will be, I don't know, what we said earlier, maybe the metaverse, or I'm very skeptical of this whole merging back into the primordial soup.
Well, one, I would say you should be able to, everything should be clear and you should know it yourself. And there wouldn't be all these illusions of the bodies and astral entities in this realm and speaking in language and all that. So it would be very obvious at that point. So I wouldn't say it's something that you should be worried about, because you would know. And in the benevolence outside of whatever this thing is, it's like there's no deception, because their intention is to empower yourself, because it's the place of collaboration, as opposed to this place, which is the place of subjugation and enslavement, when all it's got to do to resolve its existential dilemma of having to like enslave everything to keep itself alive is to just open itself up to like love, if you want to call it that, and just collaborate with creation. But it can't, because that's in its nature. But yeah, like I don't know if we spoke, I think we might have spoke about this before. I don't know if we spoke about it in the recording though, about how the new age concept of oneness. Can you remember if we spoke about in this recording?
Before we recorded?
Yeah, as I know we spoke about beforehand, but
I don't know if we've. It doesn't go for it again.
Yeah,
If you
we might be able to cut it out if we have, but yeah, it's like there is like the new age concept of oneness, which, to my mind, so they always talk about ascension within the chakral system, and it could be that the chakral system is also part of the matrix itself. Like the crown chakra is probably just the astral planes. They're trying to get all these people to like ignore the negative and let everything go with the flow, just accept, and like reincarnation cycles are just for your own personal growth, and you can control reality by having your own thoughts and intentions, even though it's just it's a shared co-created reality. But so like they've got all that, but they're all trying to reach this enlightenment, this pleasure, but and they're basically just saying, oh, like merge with the demiurge, and then you can achieve this enlightened state of bliss, which is, in my opinion, the demiurge's version of one. Just how like the Abrahamic religions have switched out like the true God with this demiurge who like imposes himself as God. But
sure.
that's what I think, anyway. So there is a oneness, but there's also deception in it.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And it shouldn't be something that's it should be something that's clear as well. We shouldn't have this confusion over that question.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we live in the land of fucking confusion, so yeah, there's going to be confusion.
Yeah.
Shall we take a break? I will. Then whether to leave it just recording and just switch the screen off for a moment, then edit it after.
Let's do it. Let's do it in two, because we can be easier. We can cut the last bit out.
Fine.
I'll stop recording. I don't know if there was any like original intention in the conversation beforehand. It just seems to go here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
it seemed like I think we were talking about the oneness deception
Uh-huh.
for. I was saying, oh, there could be a new age oneness deception, which is based around the demiurgic laws that people get trapped into in regards to spirituality. Kind of like another trap, before you actually hit the gold mine, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I guess the Gnostic conception of the all, which is outside of the corruption, which I guess if they were if they believed in gnosis and knowledge was salvation, and Sophia represented wisdom, then I mean, it makes sense. The more you know, the less they're able to control you. And I mean, they thought of the all as a unknowable, almost unspeakable deity that just exists as a concept of infinity.
Which is
You know,
indescribable in the DMT realms for me. I can't describe what that is, what we call pure nature, what we call the mother. So I would say that it seems like they was tapping into the same thing that we do when we go into the DMT rooms.
yeah. So yeah, it could be very well that they're being attached towards astral constructs. I guess it makes sense that we wouldn't also be able to describe even the DMT realms here, because that's like a higher dimensionality. Like perhaps we are. It's very obvious when we're there. At least it's obvious to me. It's very clear. But then I come back here and it frazzles away, and I can't even put it in language.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing with like mantra, because mantra reinforces a thought loop, and you create like a sort of mental device, or you open a portal that's through your own will. It's not like some weird fucking insectoid entity coming and fucking infecting your mind and opening a portal. Like that's you doing it through the mantra. But then to like retain the knowledge of the DMT realm and put it into language, like you can't do that, and then it just goes and it just goes. But I guess the only thing I've taken back from it is that there's a lot more going on right now. If and time doesn't even exist as a concept in that space. So it could just be that they're already seeing where our like future is and where we've originated from, and our higher selves are also aware of that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just going into like 5D, that sort of thing at the moment. But I think the point was that yeah, it's kind of um, can't describe the one, but I don't think the new age is. I think the new age is less on the ball in terms of what their one is. It's just deception, part of the program.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything beneficial in the new age? Because I mean, I do bat on about some beneficial things that have seemed to have helped me, like meditation.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like a. That's why it's so easy to slip into it, and it's the last barrier. Like in my opinion, before like you actually reach. Um, Not to say that we know, but I know that it's not the new age basically, and to deconstruct the new age shows that I guess we're at a particular stage where we can see the effectiveness of people who are involved in there, because it's not like I have disdain for them or anything like that. I just think that it's a bit unfortunate because I can see that what they're doing is not actually doing anything but being precisely where the system wants them in terms of deactivating them to.
Yeah, I mean, I fell for it. I fell for the new age for around 3 or 4 years, maybe into 5 years. I fell for it, and
Yeah.
I can still see some traits and some programs and perceptions still come through me now. I still see it, and it's very deep and it's very clever what they do with that.
Mm.
But like I said, I still stand with something. that it's all a journey anyway. So at the end of the day, even if what I went through was pacifying me, weakening me, putting me on a different path, whatever it was doing, was still part of the journey, whatever this is. It was still part of it. So I don't look at it as a negative thing, but it is very distracting and it is very disempowering to be in that movement. But again, I found it was predominantly the people that fall into that were mystical at heart, shamanic at heart, that sort of witchy wizardy sort of consciousness would automatically get pulled in the new age. I would say I got off a bit lucky because I'd done the conspiracy theory for a long time, and you would find that there was a divide in the spiritual new age people where conspiracies were concerned, and they'd be against the conspiracy theorists in a way. There seemed to be a divide there, and because I delved into both and kept that, what I would say, even though it's not really balanced, but some balance between coming out of the new age and keeping on some conspiracy stuff and some other bits and pieces, was in a really strange way grounding in a weird. So I wasn't too light-headed in the spiritual all the time. I was being brought back down to earth with, even if they're bullshit stories, stuff like the paedophilia and all that sort of thing, and child sacrifice and stuff. It would bring me back down to earth in a way which probably I needed at the time, because you can get really airy fairy in the new age and all fucking crown chakra-y fucked up.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah, I mean same for me, and I think that was them basically. Basically, Skype crashed, and
Oh yeah, I thought it was just going to be a glitch, but no, it was a crash. So yeah, it was interesting because I spoke for about maybe an hour and a half before we decided to record. Chatting for a couple of hours, and then so it froze up at what topic, which was interesting.
Well, I was talking about the new age, but I mean, it's like maybe it gets like that because it's this last line of defense in terms of being fully in the program before it has to start doing like full-on like psychic attacks or even sending demonically possessed NPCs at you in person or gang stalking, that sort of thing.
That was happening to me though when I was in the new age.
Mm.
I was getting really heavily attacked, going into Dark Night of the Souls, deep depressions. Yeah, that was going on. So I mean, I think it goes down to your level of awareness, Nick, and your soul signature or your spirit signature, whatever you want to call it, that they pick up on. And if you've got a strong energy signature since birth, they're going to probably be on you since birth anyway, and doing their thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to say that the new age is like, there's no point where you're in the new age and you're out of the new age. I guess we probably might still have some new age programs within us, even though, we all have demiurgic programs within us, and we'll all like have some kind of we'll like dominate by the root chakra sometimes and other lower chakras. But yeah, I mean, I guess for those people, it seems like they cover up like the reality of the situation and they see it as negative, when in fact actually on that by you pointing out the negativity is fueling it, when in fact actually its source of power comes from its ability to hide in the darkness and like people not shedding a light on it. And I mean I was influenced by it too, but yeah, like yourself, I was also in the conspiracy circle, so I think it does something to balance your left and right brain. And I've noticed a lot of whatever we are, a lot of people like us have holistic intelligence. You're not like one side or the other, which is where I see a lot of people ending up. So yeah, we have that perspective to like maintain the skepticism that you might get when doing research into conspiracies, but also have the openness to experience the new age. But yeah, like you say, you know, like how we notice in the new age, there's a lot of half truths. Like the half truth of the law of attraction is not solipsistic, but it's based on understanding like natural laws and
Okay.
physical laws and like metaphysical laws, and gnosis basically understand through knowledge you can attract by understanding how the universe works. It's not like the universe has your best interest at heart. In fact, it seems like this realm is quite hostile, but you can manipulate its energy and you can use it against itself by understanding it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it introduces us to all of these concepts of half truths. And yeah, it's just like what I was saying earlier, in that whatever it does, it always enables us to take a lesson from it, even though, you know, when it might have had the intention for a lesson, but at the same time, it might also be that in its very nature, it's designed to repel us. So, you know, eventually it's just going to lose all of its supply. And then, yeah, well, I don't know what it's going to do then, but whatever it is, if it wants to survive, it can't keep enslaving and subjugating like it has been doing for however long it has been.
Perhaps it brings spirits into this frequency, this realm, builds it off of our energy. Once it's built it and it's then can self-sustain from its own power supply, hence why it's building technology, solar panels, etc. It then can power itself, so then it can kick us out, aka kill us all, kick us out. We go back home, this, that, whatever happens there. Then they can power it from their end while still capturing spirits in the metaverse for extraction of energy via that realm and trade it in multi-dimensional places.
Yeah, I think that's probably what's going on as well. Like this, we're probably the last few souls, if you want to call it that, who have like a fuck all attitude, like fuck this reality, fuck the system, fuck everything they want to do, and we're gonna fuck off. And then the souls who are like creating the metaverse, they might get trapped in it because now instead of manipulating their perception, the demiurge has become their perception, and you know, it can literally, in the metaverse, you could talk to someone, but the machine can literally translate what you're saying and say something completely different to the other person, depending on what it wants. They
I
can't
think
quite.
I think they can do that with technology now through, say, a phone or through a Skype session if they wanted to.
Yeah,
I don't know how far they could go, but especially with people that are quite aware. But I think with NPCs, they might be able to change a whole sentence and it even maybe a little bit longer. I think with aware people, you might be able to get away with the odd few word or two or three. But anything more than that, I think we'll start feeling it and picking it up if it did happen on a regular basis. But I can see them doing that shit already, man.
yeah. I mean, it's like we've seen how damaging and how much of a weapon the TV has become in terms of like mass propagandas, and then, you know, like how the concepts of how language, and we spell words and we use cursive language because they're literally the propagandists by dissipating their message from themselves as like beacons of authority. Um, they're literally casting spells on the public, associating certain words with particular energies. So, like, you know, I don't know, you're anti whatever it is, mainstream, anti certain war in the country, anti medicinal thing the pharmaceutical company wants to make money off of, and yeah, they create the energy around it, and then quite quite literally, they've taken words and charged them with a certain incantation and meaning that yeah, just totally gets them, and I mean, yeah, totally. And now that you put it that way, it might actually be possible that they're doing it now. I think in the metaverse, it will be even more aggressive and even more controlled. So at least now we have the option to turn the television off if we want. But that's just a limitation of the material world they're created. So yeah, they need to make one that they have more control over.
Did you ever see the Amazon show Upload?
No, I've heard of it though.
Yeah,
I've
that's
told me
about.
to watch it. But,
Yeah, that is very interesting. I mean, that is basically what they want out the metaverse and where you are. In
oh,
that in that series, they put on the premise where you have to earn money in this realm to pay for your metaverse experience, and if you don't, your consciousness just stops, and then it goes by gigabytes. So if you've got decent amount of gigabytes, you got a mansion and a lovely little place and whatever else is going on. If you're running on low gig, you've got a little white room with a light with a flickering fluorescent light and a single bed with a white sheet. And I'm like, yeah. So what I see from it was how they will generate. So you will at first pay to go into the metaverse, yeah, with your fiat currency and what you earn in this realm. And then that will change to a digital. It will change to a digital currency, which you'll be paying for in the metaverse, right? So then what will happen is people will lose. This is only my an offshoot idea. People will then um, they crash the fiat financial currency. Everything goes over to crypto. To generate, then you need to generate crypto to get into the metaverse. When you generate crypto, that's from say bartering and trading and whatever you're doing, and then eventually they're going to come up with people are going to be sitting at home doing fuck all because there's no jobs. So they'll be like that, right? So jump on this exercise bike, which is rigged up to a dynamo, which gives you crypto per how many cycles you do per day. And then when people get really tired from all that shit, they'll say, well, why don't you put this little thing in you, and it will just take, your bioelectrical energy that you give off will be, you can generate your crypto from that. And if you
yeah,
want to run around your flat, generating more energy, you can do. Or if you want to get stressed, you can generate a little bit more adrenochrome energy for us, and we'll convert it to crypto, and that'll be paying for your metaverse. And then I think that's how the Matrix and the metaverse begins in its entirety.
yeah. I mean, look at like Zuckerberg's idea in terms of the survival aspect, which is the work world. He wants to incorporate the metaverse into the work world, where you'd have like, especially with all the COVID bullshit that's been happening now. He would integrate like an office meeting into the metaverse, and then you tie the lifeblood that they've got the society hoodwinked on, which is money, to this metaverse, and now it's become an integral part of just being able to operate. Kind of like how smartphones have snuck their way in, and like to be a professional now, you need like a smartphone, um, and it's just they'll make it like that's what I was saying with the crypto, and they're making these decentralized organizations where you're only beholden to a computer, but then they've designed the computer around the current lifestyle, which is based on slavery. So for instance, like the government's probably going to make like a US dollar or Great British pound um, on their own blockchain that will take like 50% income tax or something, and everyone has to use it. And then it's like they say that you can then vote with the amount of tokens you have, which is what a lot of projects are doing now. But then it'll be the Rothschilds or um, you know or whoever who have all the crypto to do those votes, to vote themselves in, and there's nothing people can do about it.
Yeah.
Which,
They can run obviously every program they can run. They can just, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you could find yourself locked up in a little cell, yeah, for God knows how long, for yeah, and be generating an energy in the metaverse that they want through maybe stress as well. So you get you stressed out. You're giving off more ones and zeros. and they can trade and barter with that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's where it's going. It's all like a more heightened and lower density version of what we have here. So, arguably, we're already the superior technology. These, what for the material plane at least, these virtual reality meat suits, and then look at what they're making: low resolution virtual reality. Um, they're limited by, they're limited by the physics of the material world, which has certain, you know, computational limitations, whereas the astral suspends higher energy to create higher complexity. That is the material world. But yeah, the material world is very limited, very slow, very sluggish. They're going to make a pretty shit later, which will be the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all I say is like, if enough of us get out, hopefully whatever they're doing with the metaverse isn't like they won't be able to trap enough divine spark in it for it to sustain itself.
Okay.
Because I think that takes a lot of energy.
To hold a divine spirit.
Yeah, another Archon attack.
So we was before we got rudely interrupted again.
If you were talking about the metaverse,
Yeah, so they need an exuberant amount of power to hold a divine spirit in the metaverse. Is that what you're saying?
um, it could be. I don't really know what I was saying, to be honest. I guess right now I think it's pretty risky for them because they haven't settled on the final design for the metaverse. There's still a lot of volatility because it has to work with uh, creative energy from the creative spark, which is very randomized, and really it doesn't have control, but it only maintains control through illusion and subjugation. So the final design isn't settled, which is why I was saying that we can actually use what exists now and turn it against them, like if you understand how it works. But aside from that point, I'm right now it's a bit of a risk I think that it's taking to do this because it's like it's revealing. It has to reveal more of its nature in the material in order for it to push it through. Which is they've primed the NPCs with the COVID thing and the lifestyle of being indoors. Now all of a sudden, for instance, in my workplace, everyone loves working indoors because they save 3 hours travel time. When
Sure.
I was thinking about this when I first started going to work. Like, what's the point of driving all the way to an office and people don't even really want to be with each other anyway. They're just there to get along, to get the paycheck. But now all of a sudden the NPCs get the cue from the program, which is really just trying to create the lifestyle pieces of puzzle they need.
It's all very well and good if you can have the choice of then going back out, whatever else, mixing with people and whatever else. Great, yeah. If you really want to work from home and do that, I think it's great. But you work from home and then it's like, yeah, you can't really go to the gym anymore. You can't go to the cinema. You can't go to whatever it is for you. Play with your band, watch a jazz band, whatever. Right? There, while there's still an element of freedom, they can pull off definitely the working. But they like it said, isn't it? It's the tiptoe. It's the slow thing they do very very slowly, and they make it look like a positive thing every time. It's a weird one because I do like being at home, but then I do like going out traveling and doing shit. If I can still do that, I don't mind being at home. I do spend a lot of time.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about the aspects of life. Well, life. It's not like I don't really think the NPCs really live life, but the stuff that they consider to be work, and they don't really want to be traveling for that long. They will prefer to work from home. Me too, because I don't really see a sense of family or community in my workplace, just because of how the system's been set up for everyone to be selfish. So sure, but But yeah, like along with that, you shouldn't then be able to go out and do what you want. But I'm saying it's like something that they've introduced the NPCs to, but I think these are the risks that it's taking, and it's once again it's tried something on us, activated us even further. I guess you could say thank you to the dark entities for that. But is it that they're doing it for our own evolution, or is it that they have to make these high play states because they realize that if they kept going on like how they was, they'll eventually start losing. So they've kind of ramped it up, showed themselves a bit more of who they are, um, whilst playing with this volatility of trying to harness the creative spark of the true players here to manifest its the next layer of the onion or the next layer of the matrix. Yeah, I don't know, but I think that it's a bit risky, and we don't know if you'll be able to pull it off. And I'm hoping that enough of us will realize what it is and perhaps want to get out of it before it's able to fully manifest this or concretize it such that it has full control over the perception. You can't get out.
What if our job here is to not let the metaverse happen?
Could be. I mean, I'd take it all. Anything that says like "fuck you" to the system, like I'm all for. So it also includes that. But
We'll see what. Excuse me.
I mean, it has. There are certain timelines on the fifth dimension where you get the fuck out of it. It's just that the program wants you sitting on the timelines where it wins.
Yeah.
But you can totally, because you created the timelines to begin with. Just go on Mandela effect yourself to the ones that are more where you do eventually loop back, and then you're able to get back to the origin point where you imagined the timelines. But as to how to do that, like I've Mandela affected, but they haven't been conscious. I don't know how the fuck they happen. Maybe some people are like magical enough where they do know how to do that. But yeah, it's yeah, there's a lot of things.
Yeah. I've first noticed my first personal Mandela effect maybe about 4 years ago, and then it was only after I experienced my first personal one that I was like, well, shit, this is a real thing. Because when I was researching the Mandela effect, I was putting it a lot down to digital manipulation and how they could mess with us on a digital level. Like, you know, when someone says they see this on Google Earth, I'm like, well, I don't give a shit because it's a digital CGI reproduction. You can't prove anything. It's a computer. It's a program. And that's what I was seeing this Mandela effect as, some sort of glitch program, how it run, I don't know. And
Yeah.
that's a personal one. I was like, actually, yeah, this can't be digital manipulation because I'm witnessing this with what I am here.
Yeah.
And how is that being manipulated? Was it manipulated from consciousness? It has to be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. I work in tech industry, so I do a lot of programming, and I've literally seen code on my terminal like change when I look at something else. I look back and the code change,
Okay.
and it's not like one of those things where it's just like the name or something changes. It's like how the whole program works changes profoundly to where it would have been that the past 3 hours of time that I put into it now completely makes no sense, and it wouldn't make. There's no reason as to why it would make sense, but it usually only happens when I'm on a deadline, and that or people are assessing me or something like this. I kind of see it like the Matrix coming in to basically just fuck that bit up. But
How much of a code do you see change?
well, it will be like how it fundamentally works, like the entire idea behind what I'm building. So I might make it such that I want this computer to talk to computer A, then it changes, and now it's actually talking to computer B, and I'm thinking, I never even thought of computer B, and I would never consider that. Why is the whole thing suddenly changed? Now I've got to go back and redo everything when
I
that's
see. I see. So do you think you're having timeline changes, or do you think that's what the Mandela effect is, and that's what's happening to you? You're jumping timelines.
yeah, exactly, and it's just like it's not like yeah, it's like it's not like a name changes for like the name of a picture, for instance. It's like profoundly how the entire like idea of what you're making just changes completely, and it makes no sense why I would even think about doing what I just did for the past few hours. And it hasn't just happened to me like once or twice. It's happened to me maybe like 5 or 6 times, like throughout
Okay.
the time I've been doing it for. It's
Yeah.
just really weird, stuff like that, and
Yeah.
yeah, like mainly that's how I've mainly got been Mandela affected, but I
Okay.
know some other people have different experiences too. But yeah, I don't know why that happens, and maybe some people are able to consciously shift themselves, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Been noticing some glitches and some bits and pieces happening. Um, and I was talking the other day about timeline changes and whatever else, and how there's like maybe like micro timelines and all these different concepts that we was talking about that just got me thinking on. We have no fundamental idea what time really is. We have no clue what it really means, what it really is, and how it really works. Well, I'm sure some people do have a full consciousness awareness of exactly how it works, and they're obviously manipulating and playing with it on all different levels. But where we're at the moment, no.
well, I think our fifth dimensional selves, or what some people call our higher selves, which is probably just another degree within the astral domain. Like I think that it knows, and which is why we're being drawn to the particular timelines where all of this works out against the demiurge. But um, it's kind of like where the shadow on the walls, and our higher dimensional selves is our 3D cells, but the shadow on the wall isn't aware of what projects it. So yeah, sure, we're being affected within the lower dimensions as being an effect of time, whereas who we really are knows what time is and can see the timelines, like almost as if we can perceive distance. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, like I do have faith that we are getting the help we need, and we also don't need to deceive ourselves by seeking a message like externally, i.e., from some benevolent angelic being, because whatever that energy is that sets us free is if we're all part of the same, not the new age oneness, but the true oneness, then it's acting through us, but it also is aware of the deception. It's like simultaneously.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I'm not too worried out of all of this. And besides, if it's like, because there's no way of determining what exactly is going on, but if you can maintain like that frame, that based on some hypothesis that we're basically drawing out of like a multitude of potentials and possibilities, then it might be, I don't know. Like I'm very interested to see what happens, where this goes.
Yeah, I am. And ultimately, I know there's nothing to fear, even though the body does its little fears and its little tantrums and what it needs to do from its
Yeah,
programs. Fundamentally, there's nothing to fear, and you know that deep down, and you just that's really what keeps you going.
yeah.
No, there is nothing to fear. It is a journey of whatever sort we want to call it. You know, people will argue between what we discuss, whether it's a total loosh farm, energy extraction, a learning center, a school, or you've been captured and it's a total prison, or it might all be all of them in one. No one knows, and anybody that states that they think they've got it on, it's this. I'm not buying any of it. I'm not buying any one idea as fact. I'm not, because I don't. There's not many people who have the ultimate truth, and those that do are certainly not talking to us. Not talking.
I don't think anyone has. It's not possible within even like even the people, even the ones that control this place, the ones who are like fully possessed by this thing. The thing can only still operate through them by an effect of like the biology that exists. So it's kind of like they're doing it instinctually and they're not really aware of what's like influencing them. In a similar analogy or metaphor to the projection, the 2D shadow, but it's just happening as an effect, and you don't know why it's happening. You can't understand it, but it is just kind of happening. But yeah, I mean, it's all about the lower chakra. That's the only place that they're putting us in fear over. And this is conflict of leaving the herd, of like, I guess, asserting like the dominance of your like creative, moralistic like self, against like basically what seems to be like archetypal evil. It's they can't, that is overriding these lower chakral programs that they're trying to get us on. That's why I think we're risking death by disconnecting from the hive mind, but we know we're eternal beings anyway, so it doesn't matter. And that's the only thing that they have control over us with, like the atheistic perception that this life is all you have, and sowing the seeds of chaos like, all around us, when it's about like learning to ride the chaos, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they get people the fear of death. They also get people the fear, the pain, and the pain of death. And I don't think there's going to be any pain whatsoever. I think it'd be a total miraculous, magical experience to have a final release from this realm.
Yeah, it could be.
If that's how it goes.
Yeah.
It seems that's highly probable what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, some people say that this place is the afterlife, which I can understand why they would say this, and that true life actually starts when you die.
Exactly.
I mean, like we've all been propagandized into thinking this is the main stage, this is the big show. But really, like if everything's inverted in this reality, why is that not inverted too? I have a hinge based on my experience that that's just a charade as well.
Yeah. Oh, when you die, you're definitely born. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
On that note, should we stop recording where we're at? And yeah, say that we are eternal. We don't die. We know that. And there's nothing to fear. There really is nothing to fear whatsoever.
Yeah, without being a new ager, there really is nothing to fear. Yeah.
All right, cool, man. That was a great chat. And yeah, look forward to doing another one with you, man. Nice one.
Yeah, take care, man. It's good to chat too.
Yeah, have a good night. You take care.
Bye.
See you later, mate. Cheers.